The first light of dawn painted the lake like brushed silver, and I stepped onto my porch with my loyal German shepherd, Buddy, carrying a steaming mug of black coffee. The air was crisp, tinged with pine, dew, and the faint smell of the water. For 20 years, this had been my ritual, waking before sunrise, savoring the quiet, listening to the rustle of the trees, and feeling the peace I had earned after decades of service. Buddy, 8 years old and fiercely intelligent, sat beside me, ears twitching at the slightest sound, his gaze sweeping the tree line with the precision of a trained soldier. Every morning, every detail of the ranch, its fences, gravel driveway, manicured grass, and even the alignment of the garden tools, was a testament to discipline and order, a rhythm that brought solace. But peace, I knew, was fragile, especially when human greed and corruption lurked nearby. The distant rumble of engines disturbed the calm. Buddy stiffened instantly, his body rigid, ears locking onto the sound before I could even recognize it. 2 vehicles approached, moving unnaturally fast, their black and white paint glinting in the sunrise. Not the mail truck, not the neighbor's old pickup, but cruisers, aggressive and theatrical, bearing the aura of intimidation rather than service. My heart remained steady, my mind shifted into assessment mode. These men were not here to serve or protect. They were here to coerce, to provoke. I set down my coffee, rose slowly, and positioned Buddy where he could observe while remaining ready at my command. The first officer, a broad man with a soft midsection that betrayed years of sedentary patrol, stepped out with a swagger meant to dominate, to command fear. His partner, lean and jittery, constantly adjusted his gear, scanning every inch of my property with suspicion and hostility. "You, Frank Morrison," the larger one barked, voice carrying false authority. "We've received noise complaints about this property. Also, reports of a dangerous dog." I remained calm, offering civility as a shield. "Would you like some coffee or water while we discuss this?" I asked, gesturing toward the door. My words hung in the air, deceptively warm, masking the calculation behind them. But their eyes betrayed impatience, a subtle hunger for control. The younger officer glanced at his watch, the telltale sign that this wasn't about complaints. It was about timing, a plan that had been in motion long before they arrived. Then the tension snapped. One officer shoved me with brute force, testing my resolve, while the other kicked Buddy's water bowl, sending ceramic shards and water across the porch. Buddy growled low, muscles coiled, his body a living warning. Years of combat training surged within me. This wasn't just a physical altercation, it was a challenge, a test of character, of readiness, and I would not falter. In the next heartbeat, the world slowed. The officer lunged, expecting fear, but received precision. Counter, pivot, control, techniques drilled over decades, honed by countless scenarios in training and combat, unfolded instinctively. Within 5 seconds, both men were immobilized, sprawled across the porch, their weapons useless, their arrogance shattered. Silence fell over the lake, birds paused mid-flight, wind hushed itself. The ordinary morning had transformed into an extraordinary revelation. Skill, discipline, and respect demanded acknowledgement, even from those sworn to authority. Yet the situation was far from over. The distant growl of engines heralded reinforcements. Sheriff Williams arrived first, his face a mixture of shock and dawning understanding, followed by a dark green military vehicle, unmistakable with its federal insignia. From it emerged Colonel Torres, posture rigid, gaze cutting, every movement commanding attention. He scanned the scene with the same intensity I had once used to train soldiers, immediately reading the dynamics, the damage, the subtext behind every action. Recognition flickered across the sheriff's face. The truth, unspoken until now, began to unfold. The full story emerged like a tide. The officers, Bradley and Carson, were pawns, tools in the hands of Henderson, a real estate developer whose ambition knew no moral bounds. He had bribed law enforcement, schemed to intimidate, and employed violence as leverage to force me to sell. But he miscalculated. He underestimated not just my training, but my principles, my patience, and the quiet strength honed over decades. The revelation hung in the air. Assault, bribery, abuse of authority, and animal cruelty, all laid bare, undeniable, and shocking to anyone who thought power could silence truth. While the authorities secured the scene, Buddy never left my side. His loyalty, unwavering even amid chaos, reminded me why I had trained him so rigorously. He wasn't just a dog. He was a partner, a sentinel, a reflection of decades of discipline and vigilance. And I realized something profound. Peace was not merely the absence of conflict. It was readiness, awareness, and the courage to act when boundaries were crossed. By mid-morning, calm returned. The officers faced criminal charges. Henderson's corruption was exposed, his empire vulnerable to federal scrutiny. I returned to my porch, Buddy at my feet, watching the lake shimmer with deceptive serenity. The routine persisted, coffee, calm, observation. But it was richer now, laden with the understanding that vigilance transforms the ordinary into extraordinary, that even in retirement, a life of discipline and service retains its purpose. As I sipped the coffee, the sun climbed higher, glinting off the lake like molten silver. Buddy lifted his head, sniffed the air, and returned to his position by my side, every sense alert yet relaxed. In that quiet moment, I reflected on the lessons of the morning. Courage is quiet, strength is measured, and the calmest faces often hide the most extraordinary resolve. Behind composure lies the power to confront injustice, to defend what is sacred, and to ensure that corruption, no matter how powerful, is never allowed to prevail. I glanced at the tree line, the lake, the distant mountains, and realized that life's battles don't always come with uniforms or warnings. Sometimes they come in the guise of subtle threats, silent manipulations, or the arrogance of those who believe they can bend the world to their will. And sometimes all it takes is one man and his dog, discipline, courage, and unwavering resolve to remind the world that justice is not a matter of convenience, but of action. The day faded into golden afternoon, the lake reflecting colors of fire and serenity. Life on the ranch resumed its rhythm, but the echoes of the morning lingered. They were lessons, warnings, and a testament to what lies beneath the surface of calm, ordinary life. And perhaps the most enduring truth of all, peace is not given. It is earned, protected, and defended, often by those the world underestimates the most.